Those of you who've been watching my videos will know that we grow all kinds of plants in our garden. And while hydrangeas may be one of my favorite topics to talk about, our vegetable garden is one of my husband's favorite topics. So I promised him that today we'd take a look at the veggie garden. I hope you'll enjoy it. We grow our tomatoes and peppers in an area off of our deck. It is separate from the fenced-in garden. And the reason that we have them here is because this area gets quite a bit more sun than the fenced-in area. We created this area to be a little bit more permanent. As you can see, we bought a roll of greenhouse flooring fabric to create the paths so we don't have to worry about weeds. And you can see that the tomato plants are looking just wonderful. You can see that there's no sign of blight or any problems. I mean, there's a few yellow lower leaves, but that's not so bad. And we're starting to get some nice tomatoes on here. Now, one of the reasons why these tomatoes probably look as clean as they do, with as little fungal damage, even with the rain, with the heat, is because we do mulch them and we change the mulch every year. So earlier this season, Tom came in and he removed all of the old mulch from last year, which then removed any fungal spores that might have been in there as well. And we put fresh mulch down around the tomatoes. And I think having that mulch so that there's no soil splashing up on the plants goes a long way toward keeping them very clean and disease-free. You can see the peppers are here, and the dead material behind them is what's left of the daffodils from the season. One of the things that Tom likes to do is he likes to attach his plant tags to the cages, and we do put tomato cages on the peppers as well because they tend to get pretty tall and gangly as the season goes on, so having a cage is very helpful. Here you can see a tag on one of the tomatoes, and all he does is he takes a little zip tie and he pokes a hole in the tag and zip ties it to the tomato cage. That way you're not losing a tag down below, underneath the tomato, searching for where this one or that one started. And it's very obvious and very easy to see. The other thing that we do is we stack tomato cages. Now, there's all kinds of cages on the market. We've tried the square ones, and they're pretty good, but for tomatoes that tend to get tall, we discovered that just your standard tomato cage tends to work better. And when we get to the point where the plant is really starting to get up there height-wise, all we do is we stack one cage on top of the other, as you can see here, and those have been zip tied together, and it makes a very nice, sturdy and strong structure for the tomato to grow on. And of course, every part of the garden has to have some flowers in it, and you can see we have some lovely gora here right on the edge of the tomato garden. Oh, here comes Tom. I'm talking about his tomatoes, but it looks like he's got something in his hand. Ah, yes, tomato fertilizer. What you got there?
Espoma Organic Tomato Tone. It has extra calcium in it, which is very, very good for tomatoes. Helps them with the absorption of the minerals and vitamins and everything else that's in here, as well as what's in the soil. And as you can see, the plants look just gorgeous this year. We're July 15th, and they're having a great season. The difference, I think, is the regimen and how early I started the plants. I took a chance on the cold weather, and they had a slow start, but now they've just taken off. They like the heat. So, it's time. Okay, according to the package, it is 3 tablespoons per plant. And so it's 2 of these. Now if you notice, I'll just take a scoop And I'm not wearing gloves because this is organic and I fear nothing about a nice organic product. Now, I want you to notice this tomato plant. It's got several stems. I am in the camp that says leave your suckers. And here is why. It's all about the nutrient and the water supply and the root development. If you do not have good soil, if you cannot water regular, if you can't fertilize regular, your plant cannot sustain 4 stems with tomatoes. If you do it, as I do, on a regular basis, and I water every couple days and I'm keeping everybody moist, I have good root development. In fact, when I pull these at the end of the year, I'm going to get giant root spread. So I am convinced that my plants take up enough nutrient to support 4 stems, and I will get beautiful tomatoes off all of them.
Hello, Gizmo. Hi, what you doing? Well, let's take a walk down to our fenced-in vegetable garden and see how things are looking. Now, before we get into the fenced-in garden, I do have things that I grow in pots on this patio that's next to the garden. I like having zinnias in pots as a little picking garden. We tend to grow our basil in a pot as well. We find that works really well. And I also have a lime tree and a lemon tree that I have had for many, many years. This lemon tree looks like it needs a little fertilizer, but it does produce lemons. It's very short and it produces full-size lemons. We get quite a few every year. Tom built us this very nice fenced-in garden. It has a rabbit fence at the bottom and deer fence all around because we are plagued by those critters. And a few years ago, he made these really lovely raised beds. They're 18 inches high, which makes them very, very easy to work in. And Tom's in here working on the garlic. How's it looking?
Looks pretty good for harvest time. Do you know, 3 weeks ago I came in here to put fertilizer and it was completely, totally jungle of beautiful green growth. And it just, I could barely get the fertilizer in here. So now, however, it looks like this, which kind of says it's time to harvest. So,
yeah, it's laying down. There's a lot of brown on it.
There might be a few, escape that we never got.
We did go in and we did try to cut off all of the scapes earlier on because, of course, if you leave the scapes, it puts energy into creating its flower rather than putting energy into creating a larger garlic bulb.
Ready? I fear this one won't be too big, but let's see what we get. Oh, you know, for a Chesnick red, that's a nice size piece of garlic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 big cloves. 4,
yeah, and those
5.
don't tend to be too big, so.
No.
All right, that's okay.
Well, let us begin. I'm already encouraged. Yay!
That's a small one too, jeez.
I like it.
Actually, here, this is what he's putting it down on. We actually use the trays, plastic trays that hold 4 packs of annuals because they have lots of holes in them and they have nice airflow. We can dry the garlic on those.
Ah, that's a bigger one. I like it.
Yeah, we were worried, especially with the conditions that we've been having, that we might not have a great harvest. So anything at this point that's edible size, I think, is a win. They look great. They haven't split.
Nope. And some of them, that's the size of the bulb from last year that we...
Yes, right, because we
replanted.
used our last year bulbs to replant. Oh, there we go. Yep, that's a nicer one. So it's been sort of a mixed bag kind of year. We've got some nice big ones like this, and we've gotten some small ones. But overall, we're pretty satisfied with it.
It's definitely a small one.
Oh, the peas have about had it. They're about done for the season. I see there's a few pods on here, but I'm surprised they even went as long as they did in the heat. Now this entire patch of garlic was planted using garlic heads that we had gotten last year. We didn't buy any fresh. Oh, wow, that's a nice one. So there are several types in here.
This is
But-
music.
Music, okay. Music always does well.
Yeah.
But considering that these were our own grown garlic that we actually replanted, I think it looks pretty good. There are also no empty spaces in here. It looks like everything that we planted grew. I'm not seeing anywhere where there are holes indicating that the garlic didn't grow. Not too shabby.
I like these, yep.
You know you have good garden soil when, with every shovelful, you get an earthworm. And the top of the soil is very granular. It looks like coffee grounds. And that's actually worm castings.
What I do is, after a rainstorm, a lot of worms will leave the ground because it's too saturated. But then they start crawling across the driveway. And you know, as soon as the sun comes out, they're gonna die. So I pick them up and I put them in here. Now, I didn't put 500 in here, but I certainly got 500 now. So it's a good, healthy life for them in my garden.
How many pounds of garlic do you think we got?
You know, the stalks weigh a lot, but I feel like there's at least 10 pounds of vegetation here, if not more.
That's great. And now it all has to be dried. Onions looking a little floppy, but they are forming their onions okay. Now in this bed we have potatoes, and I'll have to admit that it's our first year growing potatoes. We planted some purple and white varieties. I'll have to go look up exactly what they are, but the plants look absolutely gorgeous. I'm really looking forward to harvesting these in the early fall. And then right next to them, we've got some very nice cucumbers. This is our second batch of cucumbers. We planted the first batch toward the end of May because the weather was so nice. And then we had a cold snap and they all died. Cucumbers can be very, very sensitive to temperature. So this is our second batch, but they're looking wonderful. Next to the potatoes, we've got a bed that has got green beans in it. And we have some purple green beans, some yellow, and then some green pole beans. You can see they're flowering. Once again, looking forward to these. Beans are such a nice crop because you can eat them fresh and they freeze absolutely wonderfully as well. The eggplant have been a little slow to get started. We had some problems with flea beetles early on, but they're looking pretty good now. And next to them is Swiss chard, as well as some kohlrabi, two other crops that we particularly enjoy. I also like using spearmint, but we do grow it in a big pot. Now at the base of it there is some lemon balm, And lemon balm is one of those things, once you plant it, you have it forever because it reseeds everywhere. So that I just pull it up when I have too much. But this very nice spearmint stays very nice and polite in its pot. Right after Tom harvested the garlic, he went ahead and he put in some zucchini seeds. And this is just a short few days later, and we already have zucchini that have germinated. Now, it may seem a little late to be putting in zucchini, but it's really not. This crop will probably come in, certainly by the beginning of September. And by planting it at this time of year, you avoid the moth that ends up laying its eggs on the stems and the larvae that are borers that tend to plague squash plants. We were a bit concerned about the onions in the garden because they were so flopped over. So we did pick some. And you know what? They're okay. They're forming some very, very nice heads here. The only thing that is a little weird is that because some of them flopped over, you can see how the onion is growing sort of not straight up from that nice onion bulb at the bottom. But that's okay. We're just going to leave them until they start to turn a little bit of brown, and then we'll harvest the rest. Now, garlic needs to be cured before you can keep it. So what I did is I took the garlic that Tom had harvested and I left it outside for a few days. And during that few days, you can see that the tops turned very, very brown, especially the leaves. The next step is to actually cut them back a bit. And here are some of the garlic that I cut back. I leave about a foot of stem. You don't want to cut them all the way back to the garlic clove, at least not to begin with. You want them to really have a chance to cure. And while there's still moisture in that stem, it's a good idea to leave that stem while the garlic continues to cure. I do not wash them, and at this point I don't take the roots off either. Now the garlic that I have cleaned up a little bit is going to go into the house and dry in an area where there is a lot less humidity than outdoors, and it will dry very, very quickly. I hope you enjoyed today's segment. I look forward to seeing you again next time on Gardening Genes. In the meantime, have a wonderful day in the garden. Bye.